Danny, just tell us how you ended up here at Colorado.
I ended up here at Colorado, first of all, very fortunate and blessed to have this opportunity, but it's a relationship piece. Tad was the point guard at Kansas my freshman year, and we maintained a relationship and a friendship throughout that course. And he had an opening, and I was telling you a few minutes ago that bumped into him at the Pac-12 tournament when I didn't know what was going on or anything of that nature. I had a chance to catch up with him there, just wishing them good luck as they were continuing to go on their run. And then he had a staff opening. We got in communication, and I guess the rest kind of is history. It worked out well for us. So just feel very fortunate to be with somebody that you know, be with somebody that I've been in battles with before, that you have a love for. I know his wife. We connect on so many different levels, so I'm just very grateful for this opportunity.
Tad told me last week, I spoke to him about this, and he said he had you in mind, but he just wanted to give you a little time, and then you actually reached out to him. It's kind of amazing that after all these years, you two were sort of on the same wavelength about this before you even got in touch.
Yeah, I mean, what's not to love about Colorado, right? I mean, you come out here and you see the weather, you see the beautiful scenery, and then you go back and you look at what Tad has done over the course of time here. His tenure has been impressive, if not remarkable. I mean, there's so many different adjectives that you could use from when he got here into how he's built the program, how the facilities have changed, the continuity on his staff, the success of his teams in multiple leagues. And so for me, it was an easy decision.
Tad says when you guys played that 1 year together at Kansas and he was a senior and you were a freshman, he said he was the best player ever played with and he was just a freshman. What do you remember about Tad Boyle as a basketball player?
Referred to him as Cap. He was the captain. And he was the leader. He made sure things ran smoothly. He got guys situated on the court as a player. Off the court, you could always feel his presence. He was doing a lot of different things to keep the camaraderie of our team and the unity of our team together. And that's something that has always been in the back of my mind. But Tad was captain. He was Cap.
Did you maybe you didn't even think about it as like a 17, 18-year-old freshman. Did you think he was going to end up being a coach?
Oh, I could definitely see that as a player. So I moved to Lawrence, Kansas my senior year of high school, and I went to a lot of practices. I went to a lot of open gyms, and you could see the way Tad saw the game. The vision that he had and how he was able to share it with his teammates, the things that he would do offensively and defensively, was something that you sit back upon as a high school kid and just like, oh, we're just supposed to run up and down and play. We shouldn't be thinking this much about what we're trying to accomplish. And then you could just see Tad in his mind and the way he's thinking and trying to get guys in situations and thinking 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of the actual play.
When did you first start thinking, I might want to coach?
For me, it took me a long road to get there. My injuries played a part in that. I blew my knee out 3 times, in the NBA. And each time that I blew it out, I had to come back with something a little bit different. And you lose athleticism, you lose some quickness. And the only way you gain any of that back is by anticipation. But you can't anticipate what's going to happen unless you know who you're playing up against. And so for me, I had a Western Conference and an Eastern Conference book, scouting report of each player that I would play up against, each player that I could possibly guard. And at that time, USA Today was the paper I was looking at because I could get all the stats from every game. And so I'm going into games going, hey, I know this guy played well this game. I know this guy maybe struggled, so maybe he's going to come out with a different mindset. And then from there, it kind of matriculated for me coaching my kids. Coaching their softball teams, assistant coach softball teams and their basketball teams. And it's like, I enjoy this. And the more I did it, the more I really liked helping, sharing, helping pave the way for these young athletes in a particular sport. And then from there, it just blossomed as I continued to play professionally from the standpoint of the older I got, the less I played. And so the only way I felt like I could really help out my team when I was not in the rotation was telling the guys, hey, this is what they're doing on ball screens. This is how they're guarding you on the post. Or this is what they went to coming out of the last time out. And all that just kind of came together for me when I retired, and I got a great opportunity to work with Bill Self at Kansas, and I've been very fortunate in that aspect.
A lot of great players, either one, don't want to coach, or two, they try it and it doesn't work out really well. What do you think allowed you to be not only a great player on the court, but a successful coach off it?
I look at the mentors that I've had. I've played for a lot of great coaches, but there are three people in particular that really stand out for me. My father played professional basketball. He was assistant coach at Kansas when I was there and was in the game for a very long time. So we had a lot of different conversations about a lot of different things. My college coach, Larry Brown, made me a better person, made me a better basketball player, and made me become a student of the game because of how he taught us. Whether it's on the court, whether it's watching film, whether it's just in general conversations. And then Bill Self. Bill was actually a senior my freshman year also at Oklahoma State, and had a chance to play up against him, but the opportunity of working for him, being on his staff, and for me, I was not ready to be an assistant coach when I retired from the game. There were so many different things that I wanted to do with my family that I missed out on, and Bill created a situation for me where I could get into it and kind of slowly evolve, grow, and learn. And so for me, I was a glorified manager, if you will. I got a chance to see the inner workings of a college program from the base level all the way to the top. And that's something that has really benefited me every step of the way.
So what do you think you can bring to Colorado basketball?
For me, I want to bring a positive spirit. I want to bring a mentality of, regardless of what we're competing up against, what the odds are, we got to come out and put up a good fight, the good fight, day in and day out. For me, I reflect back on playing in the NBA for 15 years, fortunate and blessed to do that, and I'm the only player to do that on 3 ACLs. And so the first time is career threatening, the second time it's never been done, the third time it's out of the question. And so for me, I have great doctors, I have great support staff, and obviously my family was there with me every step of the way, but if I would have accepted some other answer, that would not have been my reality.
Right. When Tad interviewed you, I asked Tad, I said, so how'd it go? He's like, I remember asking Danny the question, why do you want to coach at Colorado? Do you remember your answer?
Not really, but it should fall in the lines of, I have a lot more to give that I want to share. I've been very fortunate with the mentors in my life to help pave the way for me, and that's what I want to do now. I want to help these young people continue to grow, evolve, and on the basketball court, you can see the accomplishments, you can see the banners, you can read about the stats, but the big accomplishment is when you get that phone call from a player that says, hey, we just had our first child, or I got a job promotion, or the experience that I had with you guys, the staff, helped prepare me for what's going on in my life. That's what you do it for.
Ted said he's always been impressed with your humility as a, quote, superstar player. You were a great college player. You mentioned all your time in the NBA. You were a great NBA player. Where does that humility come from despite all the accomplishments?
My parents,
yeah.
The different coaches that I played for, and Coach Brown, and my father. He played professional basketball, and he was a journeyman. He was the guy who, he's at the end of the roster, if you will, but he set the picks, he dove on the floor, he played defense, he boxed out, he rebounded, he set the hard picks, he committed the hard fouls, he did all the little things that go into the inner workings of making a successful team. And so watching that and learning the game and seeing that was his role, seeing that's what he needed to do to provide for our family and contribute to the team, I had an appreciation level for that at an early age. And from there, it just kind of grew, if you will, my love and my understanding of, hey, there are a lot of different ways that you can contribute to a team.
I know you played in the old Big 8, but Colorado's going back to the Big 12, which is kind of sort of like the Big Eight. I guess with this conference realignment, nothing's really the same anymore. But it just seems to be almost like a perfect time, right? Like Colorado was in the Pac-12. Now they're going to go to the Big 12. They're going to start playing teams like Kansas again. And here comes one of the great Big Eight players of all time joining the staff at this moment in time. Does it seem like kind of a perfect fit?
It seems like a very good fit. You know, yeah, you go back and reflect upon the Big 8 days, and then, you know, I had a chance to be in the Big 12 at Kansas for 9 years, and then you see Colorado come back into the league.
Right.
And so for me, it's kind of walked down memory lane a little bit. You know, I know after I accepted the position, and I left a message for Chauncey. I left a message for Sean Vanderver. Just, hey, guess what? You know, I'm going back to you guys' old stomping ground. So for me, I'm excited, and yeah, it does bring back some fond memories of playing in this building. This is the only place I got kicked out of a game at as a college player.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of energy, a lot of emotion during the course of a ball game, and you know, teams are competitive, players are competitive, and we kind of got into it a little bit, and nothing really serious by today's standards, or even back then by those standards. It was just not a good look that particular night for us.
Just a couple more. You spent some time coaching in the ACC as the head coach at Wake Forest, as an associate head coach at Louisville. I'm just curious, does the name Danny Manning, like I remember you as a player. I remember Danny in the Miracles. I remember watching that finals. Does the name Danny Manning still relate, still mean something on the recruiting trail?
I think to the coaches that I run across, it helps me out to a certain extent. But for the players, maybe 2 out of 10 times from that aspect. But I mean, you know, they have their phones, they have all their smart tablets and things of that nature, and they're very resourceful in looking up information. And so, you know, you get a lot of, I didn't know after you made an initial conversation or a phone call that, wow, yeah, I played a little bit. You know, so.
I played a little bit, you played a lot. Have you ever had the opportunity to go back to Lawrence as a visitor and sit on the visiting bench as a coach?
Have not, no.
Have not?
I have not had that experience. I've seen it quite a few times. I've seen it with Tad. I've seen it with Mark Turgeon. I've seen it with different former players that were on different staffs that have come back as assistants, and I'm looking forward to it from the standpoint of that gym is a special place. Allen Fieldhouse is a pretty cool place, and for me, it doesn't necessarily go back to playing games there. It's more so in the off season when I would take my kids there and I'd work out. They'd be running around the gym, or they would, you know, things of that nature. So it's a special place, and definitely looking forward to going back there. It's just my allegiance has changed to the black and gold when we walk in that building.